In the land of misinformation, I'm the truth seeker. Cut through the lies like a blade, I'm a fact checker. Black communications, the social need to follow. Unmasking fake news, exposing them all tomorrow. I'm on a mission, fighting for the information. No room for deception, it's time for retaliation. Black communications, we set the record straight. Real news, no filters, just the facts we dedicate. Fake news spreading like an epidemic outbreak, but I won't back down, I'll be the one to make them choke. Black communications, not that relevant until exposing all the lies. Watch them burn in hell.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, Rosa here of Splat Communications. Before we start, may we request dear followers, viewers and subscribers to please don't skip ads. This will help us a lot to continue the work that we do. Thank you. Likewise, may we request those who have not subscribed yet to please do so. Kindly make it a habit to like the videos, but more importantly, share it so you can help us in our fight against fake news, misinformation and disinformation.
Ang IISS ay tumutukoy sa International Institute for Strategic Studies. Ito ay isang internasyonal na institusyon ng pananaliksik o isang think tank na nakatuon sa mga isyu ng depensa at seguridad. Ito ay itinuturing na nangungunang summit ng depensa sa Asya. Ito ay isang natatanging plataporma para sa debate sa pagitan ng mga ministro ng gobyerno at mga matataas na opisyal, pati na rin mga lider ng negosyo at mga eksperto sa seguridad tungkol sa mga umusbong na hamon sa seguridad sa Asya. Karaniwang dinaluhan ang dialog ng mga ministro ng depensa, mga permanenteng pinuno ng mga ministeryo, at mga pinuno ng militar ng karamihan sa mga estado sa Asia Pacific. Ang pangalan ng forum ay nagmula sa Shangri-La Hotel sa Singapore, kung saan ito ay ginanap mula pa noong 2002. Ang summit ay naglilingkod upang magpalago ng isang sense ng komunidad sa pagitan ng mga pinakamahalagang policymaker sa komunidad ng depensa at seguridad sa rehiyon. Ang mga delegasyon ng gobyerno ay nagagawang magsagawa ng mga bilateral na pulong sa iba pang mga delegasyon sa gilid ng komperensya.
First question, what would happen if there was an incident that ended up killing a Filipino serviceman, be they a Coast Guard or in the military and part of the Navy? Well, that would be that would certainly increase the level of response, and if by a willful act on a Filipino, not only serviceman, but even a Filipino citizen, if a Filipino citizen is killed by a willful act, that is, I think, very, very close to what we define as an act of war, and therefore we will respond accordingly. And our treaty partners, I believe, also hold that same standard, or when the actions, with the joint action, will be undertaken in support of any such incident in the Philippines. Once we already have suffered injury, but thank God we have not yet gotten to the point where any of our participants, civilian or otherwise, have been killed. But once we get to that point, that is certainly, we would have crossed the Rubicon. Certainly crossed the Rubicon. Is that a red line? Almost certainly it's going to be a red line.
Mr. President, you have helped us to set the agenda, you have provoked our thinking, you've spurred us to action. That is the keynote speech that we needed. That is the keynote speech that we got. You have sung for your supper. I think it's time for you to enjoy it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In this solid footing and through our clear moral ascendancy, we find the strength to do whatever it takes to protect our sovereign home, to the last square inch, to the last square millimeter. The life-giving waters of the West Philippine Sea flow in the blood of every Filipino. We cannot allow anyone to detach it from the totality of the maritime domain that renders our nation whole. As President, I have sworn to this solemn commitment from the very first day that I took office. I do not intend to yield. Filipinos do not yield. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not only unyielding in protecting our patrimony, our rights, and our dignity as a proud and as a free country. We are also firm in our commitment to regional and global peace. We renew this commitment at this turbulent juncture of our history. I will repeat what I said at the United Nations almost 2 years ago. Amidst challenging global tides, an important ballast stabilizes our common vessel. Our open, inclusive, and rules-based international order is governed by international law and informed by the principles of equity and of justice. For the past 79 years, this rules-based order has allowed our region to flourish. The stability and the predictability that it has engendered has been crucial to the success of the stories of our region. Be it the post-war revival of Japan, the economic miracles of Korea in Southeast Asia, the rise of China and of India. When this world order was built in 1945, our forebears vowed to make the floors of the United Nations the last battlefield. We made a determination for humanity to survive and to never again be wiped out in another Holocaust. The Philippines has always been part of that history. Amidst the rubble of war, we were there, amongst the architects of the new peace. We stood on behalf of colonized peoples of Africa and Asia. We opposed attempts to dilute the inviolability of the right to self-determination. We helped enshrine the right to independence in the Charter of the United Nations. In 1982, we led our global community in unanimously adopting the Manila Declaration on the Peaceful Settlement of Disputes. This affirmed that differences amongst nations must always be solved peacefully through legal and diplomatic processes, never through the threat or the use.
Against that background, it is splendid that our keynote speaker this year is the Republic of the Philippines President Bongbong Marcos. Since assuming office, President Marcos has made no fewer than 25 international trips to 17 countries in Asia, the Middle East, North America, and Europe. These trips have garnered investment commitments in excess of $72 billion. The Philippines has seen significant GDP growth of 7.6% in 2022 and 5.6% in 2023, and likely to rise above that this year. Economic security, from agriculture to trade and investment, remains a key focus of his administration. Under his presidency, the Department of National Defense has renewed or upgraded its partnerships with the United States, Australia, and Indonesia, while signing 6 major defense and security MOUs with Brazil, the UK, Canada, Vietnam, India, and Australia. It has also advanced reciprocal access agreements with Japan and France. A new comprehensive archipelagic defense concept is being conceived and implemented. President Marcos has raised the profile of his country internationally while preparing regionally to assume the chairmanship of ASEAN in 2026. We therefore have the honor tonight of hearing from one of the most dynamic leaders in Asia, whose country depends on finding the right combination of economic development, diplomatic relationships, military accords, confidence-building measures, and legal instruments to buttress its national security. Mr. President, the floor and this podium.
Thank you very much for that very kind and thorough introduction. Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, Senior Minister Lee Hsien Loong, Sir John Chipman, of course, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I thank the International Institute for Strategic Studies for convening this open, frank, and constructive conversation on pressing strategic issues confronting our region. I also thank the government of Singapore, especially Prime Minister Wong and Senior Minister Lee, for providing an environment that is conducive to this dialogue. The notion of Shangri-La conjures up a mystical sense of tranquility, of free souls living in peace and harmony. And it may sound like a wishful concept, but it is symbolic of a continuing dream. An international community that lives in peace, upholds the rule of law, and enables all nations to thrive in pursuit of their respective aspirations. We Filipinos are paragons of this dream. Our history reflects our commitment to the values that engender amity, fraternity, and sovereign equality amongst nations. Our commitment to peace and to the rule of law inheres in how we have defined our sovereign home. When we established our Commonwealth in 1935, we put together a constitution that defined our territory in accordance with the international treaties that became the basis of our archipelagic unity. The Treaty of Paris between Spain and the United States crystallized our islands into a cohesive whole. The Treaty of Washington clarified the extent of our sovereignty and patrimony and a line set by international powers. We sought to uphold and preserve the integrity of our country's physical unity through international law. Together with others, we put forward the Archipelagic Doctrine, which regards all archipelagic states as a single unit, with the waters around, between, and connecting their islands, irrespective of their breadth and dimension, forming part of their internal waters. This doctrine has since been enshrined in the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or the UNCLOS. The same convention also clarified the limits of each state's maritime zones and defined the extent with which they could exercise sovereignty, their sovereign rights, and jurisdiction over those zones. Accordingly, we have made a conscious effort to align our definition of our territory and our maritime zones with what international law permits and recognizes. This has been inscribed in Article 1 of our Constitution. As Senator, I was proud to co-sponsor our Archipelagic Baselines Law, which defines the basis of our maritime jurisdictions. As President, I look forward to signing our Maritime Zones Law, which will clarify the geographic extent of our maritime domain. Our efforts stand in stark contrast to assertive actions that aim to propagate excessive and baseless claims through force, intimidation, and deception. In the West Philippine Sea, we are on the front lines of efforts to assert the integrity of the UNCLOS as a constitution of the oceans. We have defined our territory and maritime zones in a manner befitting a responsible and law-abiding member of the international community. We have submitted our assertions to rigorous legal scrutiny by the world's leading jurists. So the lines that we draw in our waters are not derived from just our imagination, but from international law. We have on our side the 1982 UNCLOS and the binding 2016 arbitral award, which affirms what is ours by legal right. In this solid foot, today these norms are under significant stress. The world is facing a watershed moment. In our region, recent patterns of aggression and militarization and emerging arms races threaten our lands and promise with an uncertain future. In the midst of these significant shifts, I see 7 realities in the Indo-Pacific. First, the future of our region will be determined by many nations, each with its own unique experiences and aspirations. Yet, their respective agencies are being challenged by attempts to undermine our faith in prevailing international norms. Second, the strategic competition between China and the United States is permeating the evolving regional landscape. This rivalry is constraining the strategic choices of regional states. This contest is exacerbating flashpoints and has created new security dilemmas. Third, the region looks to ASEAN as the institution that will hold the center amidst these evolving dynamics. Yet, challenges threaten our unity and our centrality. Fourth, as geopolitics continues to permeate the global governance infrastructure, the role of bridge builders have become increasingly important. Forge decisive multilateral solutions. Fifth, the global commons will continue to be crucial to the security of all states in the region. Access of developing countries to the high seas and to outer space and the peaceful uses of science and technologies is crucial to international development. Sixth, climate change remains a deadly challenge for the region and for the world. It is the first truly global threat, and for the first time, we face a crisis that affects every single human being on Earth and requires action from every single human being as well. And finally, the development of advanced technologies is rapidly transforming human life and experience. These technologies will solve many of our old problems, but they are so powerful that they also have the potential to disrupt our political and our social orders. These 7 realities muddle the waters that we have to navigate in our collective journey as a community of nations. We cannot reverse course. We must persevere. We must push through. The current juncture does not call for a revision of the regional order. Instead, it calls for the reaffirmation of the wisdom of San Francisco in 1945, of Bangkok in 1967, and of Manila in 1982. Let us return to San Francisco and reaffirm the sovereign equality of all states. We must reject unjust narratives that seek to subsume distinct national interest in a so-called major country dynamic, which seeks to impose a hierarchy amongst nations. Those who came before us worked painstakingly throughout the last century to bury the era of spheres of influence in buffer states. Should not allow its ghost to haunt our region once again. Let us also return to Bangkok and support ASEAN's effort to build a rules-based, people-oriented, and centered on regional community. Any state that professes a stake in the continued peace and stability of this region must respect ASEAN's centrality, not only with words, but with action. All partnerships and arrangements must never displace or dilute, but rather uphold and complement ASEAN's central role. So let us return as well to Manila and reaffirm our common understanding of how international law governs the peaceful settlement of disputes. Amidst misleading narratives that seek to discredit international legal procedures, there is a need to reaffirm those modalities are an expression of good faith. They are a service to the progressive development and codification of international law.
Splat Reaction Commentary. Nakakabilib. Ang kanyang talumpati ay nagpapakita ng kanyang malalim na pangunawa sa mga isyu na kinakaharap ng West Philippine Sea. Ito ay nagpapakita ng kanyang malasakit sa mga isyu na ito at ng kanyang determinasyon na resolbahin ang mga ito. Ang kanyang talumpati ay nagpapakita rin ng kanyang matatag na liderato at dedikasyon sa ating bansa. Napakahusay! Ang kanyang paglahok sa ISS Shangri-La Dialogue ay nagpapakita ng kanyang malasakit sa mga hamon na kinakaharap ng Pilipinas. Ito ay nagpapakita ng kanyang determinasyon na harapin ang mga hamon na ito at ng kanyang pag-asa na magkakaroon ng positibong pagbabago at progreso sa ating bansa. Kahanga-hanga, ang kanyang talumpati ay nagbigay diin sa kahalagahan ng West Philippine Sea sa global na kalakalan at ekonomiya. Ito ay nagpapakita ng kanyang malasakit at pangunawa sa mga isyong pang-ekonomiya na kinakaharap ng ating bansa. Ito rin ay nagpapakita ng kanyang determinasyon na protektahan ang ating mga karapatan at interes sa West Philippine Sea. Napakatapang! Ang kanyang pagsasalita sa harap ng mga pinuno at eksperto sa seguridad mula sa iba't ibang bansa ay nagpapakita ng kanyang tapang at determinasyon. Ito ay nagpapakita ng kanyang lakas ng loob na ipahayag ang kanyang mga pananaw at ipaglaban ang karapatan ng Pilipinas sa harap ng mga pinuno at eksperto sa seguridad mula sa iba't ibang bansa. Napaka-inspire! Ang kanyang talumpati ay nagbibigay inspirasyon sa ating lahat na patuloy na ipaglaban ang ating mga karapatan at interes sa West Philippine Sea. Ito ay nagpapakita ng kanyang determinasyon na protektahan ang ating mga karapatan at interes sa West Philippine Sea at nagbibigay inspirasyon sa ating lahat na gawin ang nararapat.
Thanks to Ferry Koy for being a channel member. Let's get in touch soon.
In a world unfolding, where stories come alive amidst the chaos.
Please support Splat Communication Channel memberships. For small amounts per month, you would be able to help us continue our fight against fake news and disinformation. We have 3 levels of memberships: Splat Beginner, Splat Intermediate Plus, and Super Splat. Channel members have the any or all of the following perks: Loyalty Badge, Priority Reply to Messages, Members Only Live Chat, in-video and live video shoutouts, Early Access to Videos, Connecting to Social Media, Free and Discounted Merchandise. Hurry! Please become a channel member now. Hello everyone, welcome to Splat Communications, your channel for reliable, relevant, and accurate information regarding sports, surveys, statistics, science, politics, people, lifestyle, arts, travel, and technology.
Kanino daw napupunta ang pera?
Kay Eddie.
Sino si Eddie?
Wala ka na ba ibang argumento maisip sa utak mo? Tumindig kayo!
Yung ganito.
Tinitiyak ko, meron ding titindig sa tabi nyo. At para lalang sigurado?
Ano pangalan niyo ulit? Rastaman. Yo. Half human, half zombie. What you gonna do? What you gonna do with a big butt?
Shoutouts: Ferry Koy, Irene Dado, Julian Brand, Jonash Eliseo, Balwaling, Velma Bautista, Virgil Liwan, Nels Naloroj, Randy David, Ed Soliman, Merwin Penaranda, MR Jimmy, Loreto Tandok, Ramon Agustin, Bold Cap, Bokling Vicente, Josema, Aida Cruz, Bimmer Benigno, Ronilo Morada, Jiro Kilman, Kurt Di Mayasya, Chris Monda, Elizabeth Vargas, Bernardo Pinera, Arnel Amador, Lizel Asua, Rogelio Cuan, Quarente, Abigahen Balansay, Jesse Vergapo, Hers, Sonny Boy Marbella, Maritas Osias, Elmer Bashwell, Riemann, Philip Bangloy, Lorna Valencia, Aniseta Petroni, Don Claro, Cliff Lucas, Sally Capili, Julio Paginad, Eda Mastro, Bimmer Benigno, Teresita Domingo, Teresita Rosas Coson, Rob Acad, Estelita Rosal.
Ain't no land of misinformation, I'm the truth seeker. Cut through the lies like a blade, I'm a fact checker. Splat Communications, the social need to follow. Unmasking fake news, exposing them all tomorrow. I'm on a mission, fighting for the information. No room for deception, it's time for retaliation. Splat Communications, we set the record straight. Real news, no filters, just the facts we dedicate. Fake news spreading like an epidemic outbreak, but I won't back down, I'll be the one to make them choke. Splat Communications, not that relevant until exposing all the